Woodley on the beat.
Welcome back to another episode of the MillionDollarConvos podcast. On this episode, we have one of Jamaica's national treasures, one of Jamaica's national sprinters, Mr. Julian Forte. Julian, how are you?
Not too bad.
Good, great. So on this podcast, we like to get to know our guests a little more outside of the application of that particular person themselves. So why don't you start off by giving us a brief character definition or a character exposure as to who Julian Forte is?
Just somebody who is goal-oriented, ambitious, sometimes thinks outside the box, creative. I'm sure there's more, but can't just spend the whole time listing out all of that thing.
So like you have an autobiography coming soon.
Hope so.
All right, so let's get into what fueled the passion for athletics. Where does it start? What's your earliest memory of Julian Forte running?
Probably prep school racing during break time. That's probably the first real memory of running for fun.
Right. So from there, when did it become competitive? Because at some point you decided to yourself, okay, this is something that I'm good at. When was that moment? Was it in Grayton as well, or was it a little bit further beyond that?
No money. That would have been in prep school and prep champs, on the relays and jumping as well.
Right.
Doing long jump at the time there.
Right, that's where you started, right? You started in the jumps.
Yeah.
Right, and then you went into the sprinting. So what caused that change?
But did I get fast? It's a little bit more glamorous than jumps and things. So decided to try my hand full time in sprinting.
So the transition from a high school athlete into a professional athlete, many struggle with that. How do you think, or who do you think was your most influential person in helping you through that transition, and what tips did they give you?
There are different people that play different kind of roles, but at the end of the day, it comes down to you as a person, noticing certain things that you need to do to make it at a professional level. Pros are different from high school level and even collegiate level.
Right.
You're not growing anymore, so you're not getting any faster naturally. So you have to definitely start to work on yourself to get faster. So I came to that realization early in my quote unquote professional career.
Right.
So I mean, I don't mind, hard training and training hard. So it wasn't really a big issue for me.
Right. So you spoke prior about the belief in oneself, right? Would you say that you were your biggest motivator on that journey? And is that something that you would tell other student athletes or athletes on the come up who want to be professionals? Is it to bet more on yourself than a specific system or coach?
It's there's a balance that you have to find. Um, so first of all, you have to pick who you think is the right coach. So you have to get into a good program first of all.
Right.
Your talent, the talent that you have only going to carry you so far. So you need somebody to nurture that talent that you have. So it's first picking, a good program, a good coach, and then after that, you definitely have to believe in yourself. Once you have to believe in your coach and believe in your abilities as well, because they go hand in hand. It's a they're they they just kind of work with each other. If you don't have a good coach, chances are you're not going to be the best you can be. And if you have a good coach and you're not doing all the things that you need to do to get yourself better, then you're not going to be as good as you can be. So you have to find a balance between the two.
All right. So this has been a very tricky period with world events, COVID, namely. There are a lot of athletes who were hoping to maybe transition out of high school and go pro now, but the athletic season was cut short. What type of advice would you give them in terms of trying to keep themselves afloat while they wait to make their names on the circuit?
Well, them have time. If you're just coming out of school, you have a lot of time. It's more it's harder on the athletes that are outgoing, are a little older, are at the twilight of their career. So the athletes that are just coming onto the pro stage, they definitely have time. If I were them, I really wouldn't worry about anything.
So you mentioned the difficulty, but here's the thing. A lot of these student athletes were dependent on the Boys and Girls Athletic Championship, right? Seeing as though that is no longer going to be, an event for this year, right? The students or the athletes that would have been noticed or would have broken records, that isn't to be right now. So that gap right there, it leaves a huge void as it relates to future Jamaican athletics, don't you think?
No, the student athletes that are good and that would have been good in post champs, they will still be good without champs. Champs is not going to make them good or make them, So I think the athletes that benefit more from the champs setup and situation are athletes that are looking to get a scholarship and go to college abroad.
Exactly.
If an athlete is looking to go
A foreign
to
institution.
go pro
Yeah.
outside of, if an athlete is looking to go pro outside of after champs,
Right.
like right after champs, they wouldn't have any real issues joining a club and working on that. But the problem will be for the athletes who are trying to get a scholarship to go overseas.
Right, correct. And because that poses a massive issue. There are some student athletes, right, that, were given the God-given ability of using Microsoft Excel or Word. You understand? They were given the ability to run, not even just sprinters, right? You have footballers, cricketers, right? Swimmers. All of these sporting events have been cancelled. All of these potential life-changing instances have been cancelled, right? So the mindset of a young athlete right now, it would be very straining on them, right? To be looking right now into the future, because it's hard in this time of uncertainty to even see what or even presume what is going to happen after COVID-19, because everybody thinks it's going to go back to normal, right? But what exactly do you think that the young athletes should be doing in the meanwhile to keep themselves at optimum levels when competition arrives, until competition arrives?
Well, I hope that I know it cannot be the same for all athletes, but I hope that most of them have the ability, have the setup where they can still train. Um, important. It's not just about because you have the God-given ability to play football and feel well, or to play cricket well, whatever sport maybe.
Right.
You have to also take your studies seriously. It's not necessarily a either or kind of thing.
Right.
I'm not saying that you need to be the best student, the smartest student, but that the school aspect of it is important. So that should be um, taken seriously as well.
This is where you would emphasize the importance of maybe discipline as an athlete.
Yeah. So as an athlete, there are a lot of athletes that have the discipline to do well, like training wise.
Yeah.
So when it comes to training, they're very disciplined and they like what they do. So it's easy to be disciplined when you like what you're doing. But for the schoolwork aspect, and they're good at it. And some of them are not so good at schoolwork, so they don't feel as motivated to want to do it, and they don't enjoy it because they're not good at it. And so they're not as focused on schoolwork, or not as disciplined when it comes to schoolwork. But that's the harder part. So the difficulty is in balancing both of them, and it just comes with the territory. Being a student athlete, you have a little bit more to do than just this regular students who don't do anything.
Do you think the same opportunities then are around for student athletes, right, as they were before? Because funding is being cut right across the board. Tertiary level, professional level. Well, probably not professional level. I would say professional level. But definitely tertiary level, because of the financial constraints that COVID has caused. The scholarships that students would usually be open to, or student athletes would usually be open to, they're no longer available, right? Right. So a student in a position where they're not financially stable enough to even, go to UA as it is, right? Let's not talk about the US tuition, because that's much more. Like where does that student athlete turn, seeing as though their bread and butter was to be, within the athletics arena?
It's difficult. I'm not sure how that will work out for them, and it's a big issue, as I said, with champs. I'm not sure about champs happening, so it will affect those athletes more, the ones that are trying to go abroad or even try to get a scholarship, and champs would be what would allow them to get that scholarship. It will be hard for them. I'm not sure how it will work out, because I'm not in that space I'm not privy to that kind of information. So, but I know that it will be difficult.
All right, let's take a different perspective then. Professional athlete, maybe they have run a good time, a sub 10 time or something, but outside of running, what type of advice would you give them in terms of generated income, or be it brand deals, endorsements, etc.? How does an athlete establish their own brand?
Your brand is more centered around, as a public figure, I think your brand is centered around your personality a lot. How you carry yourself, how you speak, and other qualities that are marketable. So some athletes, it comes easier for some athletes. Some athletes have to try, and some athletes, they are so good that the brands want to work with them because of their athletic prowess. But I would say, work on your athletic prowess first. Don't focus on brand deals. They will come, and just be yourself. If you are somebody who is easily marketed, then even better for you. But I think you just need to be yourself, and whoever is interested will come.
you mentioned something about the personality. So, who is Julian Forte away from athletics?
Well, basically the same person that you see doing during athletics. Not very. That's a part of the reason why I put my YouTube channel out. Because a lot of people they don't know,
The athlete
this type of
outside, is it?
personality. They
Okay.
don't know, they don't really know, like what you're like outside of like competition, seeing you on
Right.
the big stage. So
So
kind of
it's
just put that out to
a very
showcase
different
that.
vibe.
Right.
Yes.
Kamari asked a very important question. I want a little bit more information on that. How do athletes, and how do you, in specific, how did you let's say cope with the confinement of COVID-19, and how do you think athletes in general could cope with something like this in the future were it to happen again?
Um, it's a very good question. I don't think there's any real
Way?
particular way to cope. I mean, everybody handles, situations differently. To me, it really wasn't that bad in terms of mental like stability. Like it
Right.
didn't really affect me that because I like my own company. I'm used to
Okay.
being alone. It's not that serious to me. But it's just that the restriction that it puts on other aspects of your life,
Yeah.
that's where it kind of gets a little annoying.
Right.
But I don't think this is something that people can really there's no set way to handle it. I mean, everybody's just going to be a little differently.
So do you think that then with the platforms that these athletes have, do you think that it would be a good option for them to to then venture into probably starting your own business, or starting your own ventures, trying to find that extra source of income, just in case something like this happens again? What is your thought on entrepreneurship?
Well, it shouldn't be starting it in case this happens. You should be doing that already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that you should be
Diversify.
doing already.
True.
Um, one source of income is too close to none, no matter how much money you're making. So if you're making a whole heap of money and you lose that one job that you have, then you're not
That's
making
it.
any money at all.
That's it.
So the key is to create different revenue streams and to be able to earn outside of just one income source. So it's definitely something that people should be looking into. Not just because of the pandemic, because you can have multiple revenue streams and all of them get affected because of the pandemic. So it's just something that a lot of people need to look into outside of just doing track and field. Track and field is a very short career.
So, would you be open to sharing like what else it is that you're involved in, or your little hobbies, or what else it is that Julian Forte does?
Well, you see the YouTube right now. Everything else that I'm doing business wise, I'm not ready to speak about.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I have investments, and the YouTube channel is a hobby that I really like, and
Like and subscribe, guys.
yeah, like and subscribe. So I kind of really focus on the YouTube channel right now. So that's what I'm trying to do.
In one of your vlogs, you mentioned this very this what would you say? A
Powerful.
powerful message that really stuck. It really stuck. You said always bet on yourself. You said it so nonchalant. I don't even think you realize how powerful that message was.
Mhm.
Would you say that that's your personal mantra? Something that you live by?
Um, it it is, but it is. Yes, I say it nonchalantly, but it's something that once you truly believe and
It's a
better
part of
yourself,
it.
man, it's a very powerful thing. Yeah, it just becomes a part of it. So I just try to push that competitive edge like within training, and try to get everybody to get that kind of mindset. All of my training partners, that's the kind of mindset I want to have. I want them to have, because that's the type of people that I want to run.
All right, so take us through a typical race day. Do you still get nervous?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that tells you that them don't get nervous is probably lying. Or they're probably running against people that them already way better than, and them know it.
Right.
So you're going to still get nervous no matter what, and it's a atmosphere outside of your usual atmosphere. So I mean, it's just a normal thing. So
So it would be like a routine on a day of an event.
I don't have a routine. I just kind of
You just go there
do
and run.
whatever. Yeah, I mean, I just kind of do whatever. I mean, I don't have a say I have a race tomorrow. I don't have a race tomorrow.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to be, staying up late, or I'm not going to be doing anything like partying, drinking, none of that. But I don't have there's no set routine that I follow.
Okay, so the Tokyo 2021 Olympics around the corner. Officials still back and forth as to whether or not they'll be participating in it. Recent development with the US as well. I think that has been resolved, but 9.91 and 19.97. Do you think that this Olympics, provided that it will be hosted, do you think those records of for yourself will be smashed? What is your mindset like going into that season?
I mean, I'm not really thinking about it like that, taking it one step at a time. I have goals that I'm not sharing with anybody. But it's as I said, step at a time. So I have to make the team first to get to the Olympics first.
Right.
Everything else will take care of itself. So I was taking it step by step.
I agree.
Let's take it back from the games and let's go to training. How do you describe the impact of your training partner, Mr. Carter, or the importance of having a training partner, somebody to support you and push you overall, not just in athletics, but in terms of maybe business and such?
It's very important to have a good training partner, because they can have a very guys can feed off each other energy, and it's easier to push yourself when you have a little bit of motivation. So it's not completely necessary, but it's a big help and benefit to have a good training partner. In terms of business, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. If your business partner is providing the kind of insight and information that you need to bring your business to another level, or make sure that your business is profitable, then it's good to have a business partner. If you know the thing and you are willing to work alone and you don't want anybody getting in your way when you're doing certain things, then you don't need a business partner. So it's similar, but it's not the exact same thing.
Right. So the legacy of Jamaican athletics, it's quite the powerful legacy. It's worldwide, right? For such a small island, 3 million people, we pack a really heavy punch as it relates to the world's athletics stage. Now, we all know the world's fastest man. We all know where he comes from. But seeing as though he's left the stage, he's left the arena, the onus falls on athletes such as yourself to then carry that legacy forward. Is there added pressure with that on your shoulders, or is it just another walk in the park, another day in the life of Julian Forte?
I get this question every time somebody talks to them. Ask this question.
Yeah. I figured.
Look, the way I see it is, regardless of if Bolt or Asafa or Shelly and Fraser Price or Veronica, regardless of if they came before us, it would still be on us to try to carry Jamaica to that, to that level. So I look at it as we have a great example that was coming before us, So we are just trying to do as best as we can to keep the flag flying high. I don't think it's pressure, because I mean, at the end of the day, if we don't do as well as people want us to do, I mean, as long as we were able to maintain a certain standard and do the best that we can do to represent our country, then that's just what it is. It's not additional.
I understand the fact that people be asking you a lot, but because of their performance and because of Jamaican people, there's going to be an expectation, right? That is really why I asked, and I just wanted to get into your mind about that in specific, because yes, people ask and people repeatedly, monotonously do rinses in your head, but it's the question still begs for an answer, especially for that's visible. Like Jamaicans want to see that this is happening. You understand?
Yeah. Well, what I can say is one thing with fans and supporters. They think that they want something to happen more than you, the athlete, want that, which don't make no sense to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what them think. I don't know if they think that we just don't want to do well, or we just not trying to do well, or what. So, but fans will always be fans. I have to know that. So as a fan, you're going to always want the best from whoever is supporting.
Right.
And I am an athlete, yes, but I'm also a fan of different teams. But and you also have to know that a lot of fans have never played sports.
Yeah.
And they are not good at sports.
At all.
At all. They just love sports and they're sports fans. So they just want, at the end of the day, fans just want the best from who they support, and that's it. Right. Just for bragging rights, I guess. Whatever.
So to maybe narrow it down now, what is it that you'd like to be remembered for, or what do you want your legacy to be?
I always try to give back to the generation after me. So I always try to be able to put the generation that comes after me in a better position than I was when I was their age. So even with the young athletes coming into the track club that I am at, I try to help them to not make certain mistakes that I would have made when I was their age, and to be better than I am, or be better than I was at their age, and have a better career, because nobody really wants anybody to be better than them. But at the end of the day, if I can help somebody to get to that ultimate spot, I think that's the end of the week.
Right. So in wrapping up, has been about 40 minutes of quality content here. So we always ask a question for of our guests. You know, where do you see yourself, let's say, in the next 5 years, right? After the Olympics, then within the next 5 years, then another Olympics, would have been right around the corner or would have been held already, right? So between that period, and it goes back to Kamar's earlier question, but specifically on the track, you said you don't want to release some of those goals. I understand that, but what can you say generally that you would want to expect of yourself within the next 5 years?
I mean, just success in everything that I'm trying to do. I've never really looked and said, oh, in the next 5 years I want to do this. In the next 5 years I want to do this. I've never ever really done that. I'm kind of a here and now person.
In the moment.
And and that I need to know that I need to do this now, and then after that I do this, I need to do that. And after I do that, I need to do that, and then everything will take care of itself.
Right. So a little bit of information about your YouTube channel, just a basic overview of what it's about and the name of it, so our listeners can go and subscribe and listen to what you have to say.
All right, so my YouTube channel is my name, so it's Julian Forte. Putting together a series leading up to documenting my preparations for the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. The ups, the downs. Hopefully there aren't many downs. There are more ups. But just to give you guys a behind the scenes look at what goes into my life as an athlete, and generally what athletes have to do to prepare for major events. There are a little bit of lifestyle things in there as well. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, always you can come over, watch a few episodes, like, subscribe if you feel like you want to share it with somebody, because they might be interested in that. But good vibes over on my channel.
All right, so lastly, what would be your message to the next generations of not just athletes, but maybe entrepreneurs, just the next generation after you, or the upcomers? A little bit of motivation. What would you leave with them?
I try to find something that's not cliche, like work hard, stay focused.
Probably your mantra. Bet on yourself.
Always better yourself.
Always better yourself.
Yeah.
I think that stands out massively as it relates to part of your character and a part of your message. You understand? So
Yeah, that's true, but you can't just better yourself empty. You have to know that you have done what it takes
to
be able to be confident to say, yeah, man, you can bet on yourself, because I know I do the work and everything's supposed to, go smoothly, because I already put in the work,
right.
So
always bet on yourself, because
yeah, man, I'll bet on yourself because.
All right. So much respects again, Julian Forte. I wish you very good luck for the upcoming Olympics. We will be watching as well as the rest of the world, and more specifically Jamaicans will be watching, the fans. So hopefully the work that you've been putting in and the bet you placed on yourself will come off on that day. And of course, good luck in making the team and getting to Tokyo 2021. All right.
Step at a time.
Much respect for the time you've taken, and bless up yourself. Right.
Yeah, man. Big up. Respect.
Yeah, man.
All right.